Welcome to the Van Life Roadmap, Barefoot Theory's free online course all about van life. Join me as I share everything I've learned over 4 years of living on the road so you can take off in a van you love and never look back.
In this lesson, we're going to cover stealth camping. If you work in a city and want to live in your van, you're likely going to be stealth camping on the regular. Even for those of you who only visit cities once in a while, it will be helpful to know some basics for how to stealth camp. With the growing popularity of van life, stealth camping really isn't so stealth anymore. As more people are choosing to live in their vehicles, some by choice and some not, many cities like San Diego and Santa Barbara have made it illegal to sleep in your car. Unfortunately, these cities have experienced people acting disrespectfully, littering, and going to the bathroom on the streets and in parking lots. A lot of people know how to recognize camper vans by now, but there's still ways to stealth camp as long as you are conscientious and respectful when doing so. If you plan to frequently stealth camp in cities, you'll want your vehicle to be as non-suspect as possible. Fewer windows and not having a ton of stuff hanging on the outside of your van like bikes, AC units, and high-profile solar panels will make it more difficult for someone to tell the difference between a work vehicle and your home on wheels. You also want to avoid putting your Instagram handle or any noticeable artwork on the outside of the van if you want to be stealth. The key here is to try to blend in. Now with that said, my van isn't that stealth, and we've gotten away with stealth camping a number of times. Having a clean and well-kept van is very important. Second, don't hang out in your van with the lights on and the curtains down at night. Try to hang out somewhere like a beach or a park while you're eating dinner, and only go to your overnight parking spot when you are ready to turn in for the night. As soon as you get to your spot, put your privacy shades up, dim the lights, and don't go in and out of the van several times, drawing attention to yourself. If you need to run your fan, don't open your vent all the way. It's an easy giveaway that someone is sleeping inside. One more thing that's important to note if you plan on stealth camping is that you should have a way to go to the bathroom inside your van. If you're parked in a neighborhood, you don't want to be going in and out of the van in the middle of the night when you need to pee. And you definitely don't want to be peeing outside on someone else's property. As I mentioned in the bathroom section of Module 2, if you don't have a toilet in your van, a pee jug is a good option. Okay, now that we've covered the basics, let's talk about where to park when stealth camping. The first rule of thumb is do not park where there are signs that say no overnight parking. If you ignore these signs, you're asking for a midnight knock from the cops. When it comes to parking, what has worked for us is to find a spot in a neighborhood where most people also park on the street. If people don't have driveways and everyone is parked on the street, someone isn't going to notice that there is a new car on the block. Most people would just assume that that van must belong to a neighbor or someone's visiting their neighbor. This is much better than parking in a quiet residential neighborhood where a single random van on a block would appear suspect. I just recommend that you avoid parking directly in front of someone's house or walkway. And if parked in a residential neighborhood, you'll want to relocate your vehicle first thing in the morning, and also avoid parking in the same place more than a couple nights in a row. Other good options for overnight stealth parking include industrial areas and neighborhoods where there are bars where people might leave their car parked overnight to avoid driving home. In the previous lesson, I also mentioned Walmart, Cabela's, and other retailers that typically allow overnight parking. No matter where we choose to stealth camp, we try to choose a place that's well lit and feels safe. If a neighborhood feels sketchy, move on. Your gut instinct is very important for all of your van travels, but particularly when you're staying in cities. We'll talk more about safety later in this module, but I always like to sleep with my keys in the same place so I can grab them quickly if needed. I also like to park in a place with an easy exit, just in case it comes to that, although I haven't had any issues that required a quick exit in the 4 years I've been doing van life. Okay, so what happens if you get a dreaded knock on your door in the middle of the night? If you're being responsible and are aware of your surroundings, then the likelihood of someone knocking is actually quite slim. Your goal is to avoid this, so blending in and following the posted rules will hopefully help you avoid this in the first place. If you do get a knock, your first question, is that a cop or is that someone trying to break in? Hopefully it's the first and not the second. In my case, I have a dog that will bark, so trying to stay quiet and pretend that I'm not in here is not an option. So if it sounds like it's a cop, then you'll want to go to your driver's seat, roll down the window a little bit, and talk to them. You can apologize, tell them it was late and you were tired and you didn't want to fall asleep at the wheel. If they ask you to move, simply agree and move. Don't argue or you're going to end up with a ticket. My policy is to never open my slider door. You don't ever want to give anyone access to your living quarters, especially in the middle of the night, and that includes cops. Getting into the driver's seat and rolling your window down halfway is all you need to verify that it is indeed a policeman, and then you can have a conversation with them. If it ends up not being the police, then you're in a position to start the car and drive away.